Hey guys, alright, so today's video is over independent and dependent variables. Now these are two things that you should already know from science class, but we are going to revisit them and look at how they may apply in the future to our class in algebra. So independent and dependent variables, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a series of pictures that I have taken myself. I got all these pictures off of my phone. I just went through my phone images and pulled some pictures to illustrate to you how independent and dependent variables are all around the world that we live in. Every day we deal with independent and dependent variables. So we're going to look at the pictures and we're going to decide based on two different variables which one is independent and which one is dependent. So let's take a look. Here is a picture of some delicious looking cookies. Now I have two things here. I have the amount of batter and the number of cookies, and I want to know which one's independent and which one's dependent. So I want you to think to yourself, which one depends on something else? Does the amount of batter that you have depend on the number of cookies you have, or is it the other way around? The number of cookies depends on the amount of batter. Well, I hope we could all agree that the number of cookies we're able to make depends on the amount of batter that we have. So I write this sentence here using this key phrase, depends on, because that's going to help me identify which one's independent and dependent. What I have highlighted in yellow, what comes before the word depends on, is my dependent variable. What I highlighted in purple here, the amount of batter, that is my independent variable. Now you should know what axes each of those go on. If I were to graph this information, which one goes on what? The dependent we know is always on the which axis? Y. Your independent variable is always on the x-axis. Okay, so whatever you would write or say before the words depends on, that's going to be your dependent variable. Let's look at another picture. Here's another delicious looking pizza. I must have been hungry when I made this. So I have this pizza, and I have two things, the diameter of the pizza and the number of slices. Okay, so which one depends on the other? Let's say it both ways and decide which ones make sense. Does the diameter of the pizza depend on the number of slices, or does the number of slices change based on the diameter of the pizza? Yeah, that's the correct way to say it. So again, I've written a statement. The number of slices is going to depend on or change based on the diameter of the pizza. The diameter of my pizza is not changing. The number of slices changes. So this is my dependent variable, and what I highlighted in purple is my independent variable. Okay? Let's look at the next one. Here, I've got a picture of the cupcake menu from Georgetown Cupcakes that I visited this summer in Washington, D.C. So you've got all the flavors of the cupcakes with the days of the week. So do the flavors of cupcakes that are baked depend on the day of the week, or does the day of the week depend on the flavor of cupcakes? Which one's changing? Yeah, the flavor of cupcake is going to depend on what day of the week it is. What flavors are available to buy depend on what day of the week you visited. So flavor of cupcakes, again, it's what comes right before the word depends on. There's our key words. So this one is my dependent variable. My independent variable is going to be the day of the week. All right? Yet another one. Here's a picture of the beautiful flowers from the Arboretum. The time of year and the color of the flowers, which one depends on what? Does the time of year depend on the color of the flowers? Or does the color of the flowers depend on what month it is, like how hot it is, you know? Well, we know that the color that the flowers are going to be is going to depend on the time of the year. So color of flowers would be my dependent. It comes before the word depends on. My independent would be the time of the year. Last one. Here I had a bunch of presents. Apparently this was from Christmas last year. keep in mind I have a big family. There's 8 of us. So amount of wrapping paper needed and the number of presents. Which one depends on the other? See if you can write a sentence with the word depends on. You should have written the amount of wrapping paper that's needed depends on the number of presents. So my amount of wrapping paper is going to be my dependent variable. My number of presents is going to be my independent variable. So what you guys are going to do for your assignment is I want you to either look at your phone and find pictures that would relate to this, or take some pictures of independent and dependent relationships. I want you to have a minimum of 2, okay? If finding 2 is really easy, aim for 3, 4, or 5, as many as you could bring in. That's going to be awesome, but a minimum of 2 pictures. If you could please have those either saved on your phone or put them in a Google Doc so that you can access them from the iPads in class. If you don't have your own device to bring to class, because we're going to need these pictures, then have it saved on a Google Doc. All right, that's your assignment. Thank you.